Hey, I'm Tim Whitley, CEO and founder of Team SI today, and we're going to be talking about online privacy. But before we begin, I want to introduce Michael Newman, that holds many hats, but tell him what you do.
So I'm Director of Digital Media here at Team SI, so that means I sort of in charge of all the different aspects of our digital advertising for all of our clients.
Paid media.
Paid media, yes.
Yeah.
Paid media.
And so today, specifically, why I wanted him on is because of the fact that we're talking about online privacy concerns, because it's all been in the news, right? You've seen Facebook, you've seen Mark Zuckerberg teaching senators and congressmen how to log into Facebook. You've been seeing a lot of talk around in the news about privacy concerns. You may have heard about Europe's standards of how they control data. And so we're going to kind of hit on a little bit of each of those. And actually Newman has, that's what I call him, by the way, Newman has Facebook guidelines. So if you're doing Facebook advertising right now and you're concerned about how this is going to impact your Facebook advertising, Newman has some of that information as well.
That's right.
So we'll cover that here in just a minute. So first of all, I just want to talk about this, that is an article from April 5th, 2017. It's from eMarketer that we subscribe to. And it basically said that more than a third and more than half of those under 50 preferred personalized messages. And when we talk about that, we're talking about those personalized messages that you deliver and your entire team delivers via Facebook, via GDN, which is Google Display Network, video advertising, etc. Do you want to explain that process a little bit?
Right. So I mean, as users interact with our sites, we pay attention to what they're looking at, and the most effective way to advertise to someone is to show them what they're interested in. If you are looking at pages about new cars, you're doing research on gas mileage and things like that, you're in the market for a new vehicle, and we want to match you with advertisers that are looking to provide you with that service. And so there's a couple different ways we do that, but a lot of it all has to do with keeping an eye on what you're doing online without being able to personally identify you.
Correct, and that's one of the things of misconceptions that are out there. So in this study about preferred personalized messages, even the respondents believe that you can tie one-to-one together, but that's not actually true. So let's take an example of the red car, or a car in itself. I was thinking about red just because that's Team SI, but let's say you are looking for a red car, and then you start to see red cars later on. Newman is absolutely correct, is that we cannot tell you that Michael Newman is looking for a red car. We can only tell you that there's an impression on an ad in the radius and in the DMA or AOR, whatever you want to call it,
right,
where you're serving the ad, is that is gaining traction. And so that's one of the ways where data privacy is already there, is because you're not able to tell that one-to-one. So the reason I wanted to explain that is because everybody sees it. Everybody has seen this type of advertising for about 10 years, to be honest with you. And in these 10 years, Amazon was the true company that really kind of built personalization and identification. But, and I want to be careful with certain words, identification does not mean one-to-one. So that was April 2017 to say that more than half of users would like personalized messages. Now, we just did one, our eMarketer did a research of April 12th, 2008 with everything in the news, and now the percentages have increased of very concerned, your personal information being sold to and used by other companies and organizations. 55% of the respondents said that they're very concerned, and they should be. But the facts also have to be known about what kind of that information is being scraped, as you may say, or via harvested. But it's not on the individual layer. All it is trying to provide you personalized advertising instead of showing you what I call a shotgun effect. So let's say you're not interested in a car, nor a red car or anything like that, but you constantly get hit by advertising for a car. That's going to annoy you. But if the advertising can provide the content that helps you provide and make a better purchase decision, then all in all, you're a winner. And so, this is the document here on April 12, 2018, about 55% being very concerned. They should be.
Right.
But I think the facts should also be known. Invasion of privacy is now up to 43% of very concerned. But here's the unique part, and I actually didn't tell Newman this before we started, but now people are starting to get confused inside of this research of what is an invasion of privacy versus internet viruses. So I have another study that really highlights how people are starting to get confused between IT and marketing. Mm-hmm. So, you hear the stories of hospitals or large companies, I think the 911 systems in Minneapolis and other places being hacked and being held up for ransom. That's a true thing. That's an IT infrastructure thing. That is going to increase as people get smarter and to get around those firewalls. But what people are mixing should not be mixed, which is one is an IT, put a wall, and then marketing. So the discussions in the news has kind of started molding those two together, but they are absolutely no way molded together. We are talking about IT infrastructure, and then we're talking about marketing. And I know I'm putting you on spot. You want to talk about that a little bit of what I'm trying to get at there?
Yeah. So I mean, the IT infrastructure, is going to be more tied to educating, particularly if you're in an enterprise environment, educating your employees and letting them know, don't click on phishing emails, don't download random attachments, even if they look like they might be legit, keeping your antivirus and firmware up to date. And that's all separate from, like I said, the marketing aspect, which is a lot less intrusive. There's a lot less danger in that you can. Like I said, there's no personal identifying information. Nobody's. None of the ads that we run are going to lock your computer down. We're not interested in taking over your computer and harvesting your data to sell to wherever.
That's a completely separate thing.
Right.
And so when we're delivering marketing that is tailored to an audience group, not an individual necessarily, an audience group that we don't know names of, that is marketing. But if you are familiar with people being held up for ransom and all that stuff on the IT infrastructure for records, etc., that is an IT issue. So don't let those two things be mixed together. Here's another thing that I want to talk about just real quick, is out of those respondents where they said that 50% or more would like personalized ads. Inside of this, though, is funny because out of those 50%, in the 18 to 34 range, 31% said they like the idea, but they're not good enough. Mm-hmm. And that is very true. If you went onto Facebook when they began to let you look at, what does the data show about you, mm-hmm. right? And people were pulling it out and then doing screen captures and then sharing it on their timeline and saying, how can it say that I'm a Democrat or conservative? I'm definitely not. And, so there are some imperfections with that that are going to get better as we move along in time because it is getting better with personalization. So for those people out there that say they like the idea of personalized ads, but they're not good enough, 31%, 30% for the 35 to 49 years old, those people, or it is going to start getting better.
Right.
That is if we are allowed to do that. And that's something that we now want to talk about is inside of Europe.
Yes.
They have rules on the data that can be collected from users and audience groups. And I want Michael to talk about that real quick, if you have not heard about this.
Yeah, so if you keep up with marketing, you may have read something about the GDPR. That's the General Data Protection Regulation. That's new regulations that are set to take effect in Europe. I want to say very soon. If it didn't take effect at the beginning of April,
It was beginning of April.
was the beginning? Okay, yeah. And what this is doing is basically it's governing how site publishers can collect your data. Previously you may have seen banners at the bottom of sites saying we use cookies for this. Basically by using the site you agree to our terms. And once the GDPR has taken effect, that will require a significantly more active accepting of their terms. They're going to require an implicit opt-in. Basically, you have to click yes, you can track me. You can follow me around and pay attention to what I use and where
So
I
does
click.
this mean like on shopping websites where I may get at the very top that says, this website uses cookies to help you shop better, basically. Right. And I'm thinking of multiple ones, and I'm not going to say any of them, of course, because I'm looking to not remodel, well, that's a big term, but looking to purchase new furniture for a room. And so it says it at the top, but it doesn't say opt in or opt out.
Right.
What you're saying is that it would say it at the top or wherever, but then it would say.
Yeah, I think they're as you create accounts on these sites, they're going to ask you, can we use your information to serve you better ads, to track what your usage through the site, and you're going to have to say yes or no. And if you say no, they're still going to serve you ads. That's important to remember. Just because you say you don't want to be tracked doesn't. You're just going to get less accurate, less personalized ads.
There'll be more brand awareness of that website that you just visited.
Right.
Versus, hey, I looked at a couch. Let me show you different variations of the color of that same couch.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Right.
So I don't know how much time we have left, but what I wanted to cover real quick as well is that inside of Europe, that has already been established. Canadian law has something similar to that.
Right.
And, we have clients in Canada that it has not affected us. But I can tell you, here's my forecast for the United States, is that there will be some reform around data collection and how people can harvest your data. Mostly in the political world. And the reason I say that is because that's so heavily regulated by the FCC right now with TV, radio, and print, as that's my background, it's always been crazy to me where you had to meet certain criterias before you purchased a TV ad, a radio ad, or anything for a political party. But on Facebook, GDN, Google Display Network, search engine marketing, anything. Facebook's getting the end of the stick, but it's everyone.
Sure.
And so there does need to be more regulation on the political environment. I think that's where it's going to go, just like following the steps of TV, radio, and print. It definitely should, and that's where it's going to start. And then I think that's where it's going to be for the next 18 months, as we have other things to take care of. But if you have any questions at all, please submit inside of the comments. We'll be watching, and we know that most people don't watch live, but during the course of the week, we get a lot of views and a lot of comments, and so Grace will be watching out for those. But the thing about machine learning is that it's not going to go away.
Right.
And IBM, Watson, Weather Channel, all that stuff has been. Watson, it took $8 billion to build. They're not just going to, take it away.
Right. No, they're going to do more than let him play Jeopardy and then take him
and build what was it? Build Legos or something like that. No, yesterday on the news they IBM Watson put together an IKEA furniture.
I did see that.
Yeah. And if they want to come to my house and do that, that's great. But one of the things is it's not going to go away. Think of Amazon real quick. Think of every time you go to Amazon, it knows your behavioral pattern inside of Amazon. So you really don't have to click that many buttons to buy what you need. It has your past history. It knows that you order dog food, every 90 days. So guess what? On the 91st day or the 89th day, it's going to pop up, that type of dog food. I'm speaking for, selfishness here because that's what happens to me.
Absolutely.
But if the machine learning completely goes away, you're going to have a heck of a time shopping on these huge mega sites.
Right.
And so that is something that I just don't think is going to happen.
No, I think there's gonna be stronger consent required just for for everything you do, but it's still gonna be there.
Yeah, it has to be there because that's the way of the future that it has been laid out. But so to summarize, basically, is that people do want personalized ads, and even after the hearings on the Facebook side, you still have more than 50% of the audience that wants personalized ads. If I am looking for a couch, I want to see the different variations of those couches. I want to see different variations of the color. If you're looking for a car, I want to see red, white, and blue. I want to see, the different comparisons of a different vehicle, all that stuff. People want that. What people are worried about is how that data is being collected. And when you strap away all the political nonsense, when you strap away all of the conspiracy theories, is that the absolute truth is I cannot tell Michael Newman is looking at X car or Y car or B car or whatever, right? I can only tell you that you're in an audience group.
Right. I have a group of people. It might be 10,000 people in that audience. They're looking for this specific type of vehicle.
And we do not collect, so I can't. There's no way if you shopped on AutoTrader or Cars.com or one of our many dealers that we have, we can't send you a direct mail piece that then says, "Hey, Michelle, you looked at this. We have a great deal here." There's already privacy rules that exist and are fully implemented, so you do not worry about that. Here are some of the Facebook changes that are being made to protect privacy, number one. Number two, to lean a little bit more right on the conservative side. And then number three is to get ready for kind of regulations and honestly cleaning house. You can't have a company that big as Facebook grow that company and not make any mistakes.
Sure.
I mean, we're a Inc. 500 company. We've been in the Fortune 100. We make plenty of mistakes, and that's because of the rapid growth we have, right? And so Facebook's the same way. But if you don't mind going over some of the things that Facebook's going to be doing to to help with that.
Sure. So I mean, the big focus in Facebook is going to be around targeting. Obviously, the first thing they're going to do really is remove some of the third-party targeting tools. So if you've used Facebook ads in the past, you know that there's a lot of different behavioral and third-party targeting options that Facebook may pay Oracle or someone like that to for their data, and all of that's coming out.
Like Axiom.
Like Axiom, exactly. Another
that
good
has been in the news.
Another good example. All of that data is coming out. It's basically all of the third-party data that Facebook is not personally collecting, they aren't personally responsible for, is going to come out. They're also going to start creating a new custom audience tool that allows you to sort of tweak the permissions that are associated with your audience campaign, or your audiences in your campaigns, and this will help them sort of. Once again, this is all about accountability on Facebook's side. How much are they accountable for, and how much control do they have over it, and then they're also going to restrict the sharing of custom audiences. So that right there is probably one of the bigger things. If you think about the fallout from the Cambridge Analytica stuff, it was data collected by one marketing agency shared with another marketing agency, and that sort of inter-agency sharing is going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah. And that's a scary thing in itself, because you don't want your privacy just to be, or you don't want your information just out there. Just even though it's still group audience data, it's still something that should be protected and harvested.
Right.
Or not harvested, but protected,
Yeah.
and then sealed up.
Yeah, well, and I think the big thing was is people had participated in these surveys, and they were told their data was going to be used for one thing, and then it was used for something completely different. And I think that's going to be definitely going to go the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the other thing is all those games you play on Facebook. You're going to start to see less of those, and I'm sorry for the Farmville fans or the past Farmville fans, but those things are going to start going away because you may not understand this, but think about nothing in this world is for free, and so when you go on and you're playing in a game on Facebook, whether that I don't play games on Facebook. Hell, Farmville. I'm just going to use that until you say a different one. You are accessing and giving that app developer permission to suck out your Facebook data and put it into a pool of other data, just like the Cambridge Analytic module that they had, an app inside of Facebook. So you're going to start seeing less of those as well, and that's something to remember. The other thing to remember is Facebook is also a business. Google is a business. Snapchat is a business. Instagram is a business. YouTube is a business. If these concerns, and it's so funny when I was watching the proceedings, because I watched all of them, which you really want to take a nap, that's a way to take a nap. But, a lot of people asked, why do you serve ads? And it's kind of like, well, I offer our services for free, so how am I going to make money? Yeah. And so it's an entrepreneurial duh. But the thing is if Pandora, for example, you have to pay $7.99, $6.99. Oh, sorry, Pandora. I don't know the amount, but you have to pay a monthly fee to not hear advertising, right? So the exact same thing I put may because I don't want to have comments inside of this Facebook video a year later saying I was wrong, but that there might be a $4.99 a month Facebook free ad, and there are some TV stations around the country that are trying to do the same thing and trying to test that out.
Yeah.
But you only have so many subscriptions that you're willing to sign up for. As a personal person, as a personal consumer, I already spend way too much. I have a Hulu subscription, I have Netflix, I have cable, I have Amazon Prime, I have
Pandora.
No, I use that for free. I have Spotify.
Okay, yeah.
But all those things add up. And so when you start adding all those things up, that's going to be a massive bill. So, of course, that is why all of this stuff is for free, in that they can deliver advertising to you just like the normal television, radio, and print. And so when people say, well, I don't necessarily like ads, well, that's why Pandora does give you the option for the subscription service. That's why Spotify does too. That's why other OTT services do that. But I tell you, there's going to be a huge backlash if Facebook comes out with something like that, because
yeah, I mean, every now and then you see those posts, about Facebook Premium or something like that. It's always some kind of scam or something. But I would be surprised to see that happen, just simply because I think that Mark Zuckerberg has gone on record, not that he would ever go back on his word, but gone on record saying Facebook is free and will always be free. So whether or not that holds true, 6 months, a year, 18 months from now, there's no telling whether or not.
And plus, they're making plenty of money on advertising right now.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So there are going to be more people at Facebook that are reviewing ads. There are going to be more people on Facebook reviewing the quote-unquote articles shared that could be potential incorrect news. I don't want to use that term, but incorrect news. And then there are going to be more people that he's bringing on staffing-wise, Mark Zuckerberg, to not just rely on AI, but to bolster the AI to be able to kind of go through all that stuff. So this is a developing story. This is definitely not going to be something that goes away. just because of this one podcast or video series. This is going to be a series to come and in the future, and some of the things that we said today are going to have reverse and some notes attached and asterisks, etc. So with all that being said, do we have any questions or anything? Okay, good. So we know that we will. If you have any questions at all, please put them into the comments, or you're welcome to email us, hello@teamsi.com, and we can keep you up to date. Also, the other thing is Grace over here does a really good job with our newsletter. You can always sign that up on teamsi.com and sign up for our newsletter, and we can keep you up to date that way, because this is something, again, not going away, and what I believe will be the first thing they're going to tackle is the political ads. And so, I don't think necessarily that much is going to change in the realm of anything else, but they have to get that under control first.
Right. That's where people are looking right now, at least.
Yeah. All right. Well, Grace, are we good?
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And today is April 19th, 2018. So if somebody watches this in the past, that some of these things could change. So I just want to make that note. All right. Thank you very much.